Hello there and welcome to the Card Grotto. Today I've got a video sharing how I'm storing and organising my alcohol inks. So I keep them in the alcohol ink tins from Tim Holtz and Ranger. I really like these tins. They brought them out fairly recently and I just actually managed to get hold of them just recently. Really like them. They're pretty good price point. They're really nice size actually. I don't think they're too big. They kind of just fit the product really nicely. You can fit 30 alcohol inks in each tin. You can actually fit other things in these as well, like stickles and things like that. Anything basically that's the same kind of size bottle. Nice clasp at the bottom, and the alcohol inks do not move around at all. You can turn this upside down, inside out, however you wanted to, and they don't fall about. And I've got a couple of these tins for sort of other things in my craft room, not this particular tins, but like I've got the distress marker one as well, so they kind of all match, which is quite nice. And I like the finish on these tins. I think they're quite attractive personally. So because of how many alcohol inks I've got, I have all of my colours in one tin, and then I have the mixatives in the other. I only have 3 mixatives at the moment, and I have I think 28 colours of alcohol ink. Like I said, you can fit 30 in a tin, so I just separated it in that particular way. Once I get more, I'm sure I will sort of work out how I'm going to separate them. I will probably do it so that I've got warm colours in one and kind of like cool tones in the other. I'm not sure yet, but we'll see sort of as time goes on when I buy some more alcohol inks. So I'm just going to open one of the tins up so you can see. So these are all my colours, like I said, and I've got dots on the top of each of the bottles just so that I can see what colour they are. Like I said, they fit in really nicely. There's kind of an insert inside here, so each of the bottles fit in snugly. Like I said, they don't move around or anything like that. I really like them in particular because then I can have all of my inks in colour order. I just particularly like to work that way. I'm just one of those kind of people. So this is really nice for me. Like I said, I've got one of the dots of colour on the top of each bottle. The lids are all black, which I think looks really nice, but if you particularly take the top off the bottle and don't put it on again, you'll mix up the lid probably, which is what I have done in the past. With some of the colours you can see when you take off the lid what colour has been inside it. More so with the obviously the opaque colours like the mixatives and things like that. Most of the colours you can't see unless you put like a bit of paper in there or something like that, like kitchen roll, so you can see what the colour is and it will come off on the paper. Otherwise you don't know. And if you say had a lid that you took off a pink bottle and you put it on a yellow bottle, you'll get all of the ink come off onto the top of the yellow bottle, which I don't want. I'm not that kind of person. I like everything to be neat and tidy. So I like to label the tops of the bottles, and it does help when you go to use them as well, so you can kind of see what you're grabbing. Personally, I think this is absolutely fine. You can see what colour it is from the outside, but like I said, it's just quite nice, and I think it looks quite neat as well at the top. But kind of the reason, like I said, for me to do that was so that I know which lid is going to fit the bottle when I'm actually using them. So how I did these little dots on the top, I literally took a tiny little piece of Yupo paper, added the colour on top, and then I just took a normal hole punch. This is just a single hole punch. This is just a basic hole punch, the size of the normal ones here in the UK. I do apologise if they're a different size elsewhere in the world. I'm not sure if that's a different thing, like if we have different sizes of different things. But basically it's a 1/4 of an inch hole. I measured it just to check what size it is, and that fits on the top of the bottles perfectly. So what I did, I just punched out the piece of Yupo paper, and then I just added a dab of multimedia matte glue onto the top of the bottle, stuck that down. It didn't take too long at all to kind of adhere to it, and that stuck there at the top. I didn't add anything over the top to kind of seal it in. You could add like a spray or some resin or something like that. Personally, I don't think there'll be a problem, and because they're in the tin as well, they're kind of protected. So I don't think I've got a problem with that, but I just thought I would mention it in case you did want to sort of seal it with anything. So that's all of the colours there, and then I've also, like I said, got one for the mixatives. I just have the 3 mixatives at the moment, but I'm sure I'll buy a few more. Again, I've got the dots on the top. The kind of white one was a little bit redundant really because it's just white, but nonetheless I still did it. And then the pearl and the silver there. Then for the tools themselves, for the accessories, I just have them in this box here. This is kind of like a pencil box. I actually just picked it up from my local DIY shop and it seems to fit everything in really nicely. So I've got the blending tool there with the felts, and then I've just got a couple of extra pieces of Yupo paper that I've been using for swatches. And then I've got a couple of straws that you can use to sort of blow the ink around. And then I've got the blending pen, and then I've got some paint brushes and a little mini mister and things like that. So everything is just contained in the one little tub. And then I just keep that in a drawer in my craft room, just so that I've got it and I can just pick it up and grab it when I'm using my alcohol inks. So I thought I would just share with you how I've done my swatches. So this is a download from Jennifer Maguire. I used the blank one that she shared years ago for her ink swatches, but I believe now that she's just shared one recently for the alcohol inks themselves. So I actually had to go in and add in all of the names for everything, but now she shared one on her website for alcohol inks that she's made herself, so you could just print that off. But I'd made this before she'd shared that over on her website, but never mind. At least now if anyone wants to do that, they can just print that off. So these are printed onto some cardstock and cut into 2 by 2 inch squares, and then I just got some Yupo paper and cut that down to pieces, and then I just added the alcohol ink on top, and then I spritzed it with the spritzing tool, the air spritzing tool from Holtz. That's the one for the distress markers. That's usually how I like to use alcohol ink, so I thought I might as well go ahead and do that for my swatches. It kind of gives me an idea of how I'm actually going to use them in real life. So I just did a fairly sizable block of it just so that I can see what the different colour is. Some of them do actually react a little bit differently, like the Cool Perry for example has got a few different tones in, so it's quite nice to have sort of a large area of that. And then, so like I said, I've got all of them here, all of the different colours. And then for the mixatives, for the silver one in particular, I did add a little bit of blending solution over the top just so that I could see sort of how it moves. I tend to add the silver mixative with blending solution, so again I kind of like to have it sort of real life for my swatches so that I can sort of see how I'm actually going to use it. And I just have them in my kind of colour order, how I have them, and this is actually how I have them in the tins as well, which is quite nice so that I can just sort of grab them and see them quickly. And I keep these in a binder with my other swatches that I have as well. So that was a look at how I'm storing and organising my alcohol inks. I hope you've enjoyed watching. Links to the products will be in the description bar on YouTube and also over on my blog. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.